Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Welcome to the International Free Webinar. Thank you so much for joining us for another relevant topic tonight. I am your host. My name is Rohamina P. Gapor. And before we formally begin the program, let me give you a little bit of background about the Institute of Global Professionals for those participants who are new tonight. Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution that provides social work with globally recognized. IGP is a leading online skills development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. We have organized this webinar, training, offline and online courses from the best and trained speakers, trainers from all over the world to create the best learning platform for all of you. As IGP's mantra, feed your skills, we believe that it's not effective to increase one's skills just by acquiring formal education. So we provide essential training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. Our mission is to empower people and improve their skills. We have successfully completed 299 webinars. Wonderful. And tonight, we are honored to bring you 300 webinar on the topic test construction with two brilliant speakers, Dr. Maeda Languyuan Kadtong and Ma'am Ana Margarita Agaw-Agaw from the Mindanao State University, Maguindanao, Philippines. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Mayada L. Kadtong, Associate Professor 5 at Mindanao State University, Maguindanao. She is a college extension coordinator, accreditation focal person of the College of Education, Campus Research Council, Evaluation Committee member for composition of various working committee for the state of the campus address or SOCA, and she is a SASE test chief examiner. So please help me welcome our first speaker for tonight's webinar, Dr. Maeda L. Kadong from the Mindanao State University, Maguindanao. Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to back again.
Yes, ma'am, good evening po.
Okay, may I go ahead na, ma'am? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good evening, audience from my country, Philippines. Greetings of peace and prosperity, audience from other part of the world. First of all, I would like to ask thanks to the organizer of this international webinar, the Institute of Global Professionals, the IGP Leadership, for allowing us to share concepts regarding formulation of learning outcomes, table of specification, and test constructions. I would like to take this opportunity also to ask thanks to our University Chancellor, Dr. Vaidchira Perdite Makalanong Limbona, our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Consuelo de Samson, our Dean, Dr. Marisa and Farcon, for untiring support for our personal and professional growth. By the way, I am Dr. Maida Langgoyuan Gadtong, Professor from Mindanao City, Maguindanao, Philippines. As you can see on screen, our topic today is formulation of learning outcomes, table of specifications, or TOS. Our dear professionals or educators, do you know that teaching without learning outcomes is similar to teaching without learning? You may ask why. It's because formulating or constructing learning outcomes set shared expectations between the learners and the instructor or teachers. It allows students set learning goals easily and at the same time help them learn more effectively. For the instructor or teachers, they may have clear direction while they are making assessment decision. It may also serve as their guide in choosing teaching strategies and instructional materials for instruction. But before we go further with our discussion, let us first check our sessional objective for us to be guided. At the end of this session, you, our audience or participant with 90% accuracy can explain learning outcomes, identify the tips for developing learning outcomes, differentiate learning outcomes and learning objectives, identify the learning outcome benefit that differentiate the three learning domains. But the question is, what is learning outcomes? Our dear audience, learning outcomes refer the knowledge to the information or skills and attitudes that students need to demonstrate every lesson or every learning activity. And overall purpose or the total purpose or goal of participation in educational activity. It also identifies what the learner, what the student will know and be able to do inside the classroom at the end of the course or program or any subject. This assessment is on the expected goal of a curriculum or subject, course, lesson, or activity in terms of demonstrable skills and knowledge that will be acquired by the learners or student as a result of classroom instruction. The next question, what are the learning outcomes? Here's the features of learning outcomes. The specific action or knowledge, skills, and attitude by the learner must be observable, measurable, verifiable, and by the learners according to University of Kansas 2019. When you say observable, we can describe, we can perceive knowledge. It answered the question of quantity. How much, like how much, how often, how many, Or in short, the learning outcomes can be counted or quantified. When we say verifiable, we verifiable if we can able to check or demonstrate to be true or justify the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes by the student. Next question. How to develop learning outcomes? Are tips for developing learning outcomes? Then I will introduce to you those tips. First tip, tip number one, set up your criteria. In setting up your criteria, we need to answer the following question. First, do they reflect broad conceptual, essential knowledge, and generic skills or attitudes? Second question, do they focus on the result of the learning experiences that your student will undergo in class? Third question, do they reflect the desired end of the learning process rather than the process itself? Fourth, they do clearly state the minimum level of performance that student must achieve at the end of the program. So if you can answer those four questions, we satisfy the tip number one, which is setting up our criteria. Now, learning outcomes, my dear audience, designed from the perspective of what the student. Take note, it is designed from the perspective of what the student, not the teacher, will know and be able to do at the end of every lesson or activity. While the learning objectives, usually in Department of Education, we are using learning objective. Learning objectives designed from the perspective of what the teacher, not the student, is responsible for in the classroom. Tip number two, become familiarized with the benefits of learning outcomes. So here's our framework. Learning outcomes heavenly student-centered, focused on essential learning, and it is specific and measurable skills, knowledge, or attitudes. Learning outcome has different benefits. First, students know more precisely what is expected from them. Second, as the curriculum is set more transparent, students learn more effectively. Teachers can design their instructional materials as what I stated a while ago, following a clear route. And teacher can select teaching and assessment strategies aligned with the outcomes desired or learning outcomes. Tip number three, learn how to write coherent, consistent learning outcomes. An example of how to write a solid learning outcome introduced by Kennedy et al. 2007. First, begin with an action verb, followed by the object of the verb, then followed by a phrase that gives context. Second, use only one verb per learning outcomes. Take note, use only one verb. So don't put or write at the end of the lesson the student can write and define or can identify and define. It should not be. So take note, use only one verb for learning outcomes. Next, make sure that it represents an observable and measurable behavior or skill. Next, ensure that your outcomes can be assessed. And lastly, design your own rubrics that visual performance criteria accordingly. Good. In cognitive outcomes or knowledge outcomes, students need to demonstrate the knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and etc. Here's the example on how to write learning outcomes. By the end of this project, students are expected to our action verb is analyze, verb object, eating habits of rural student, context in their school, the observable behavior, the performance criteria, stating 3 positive and 3 negative habits. So this is an example on how to write a learning outcomes. For effective outcomes or attitudes, student needs to express their attitudes, their feelings, and their values. How to write it? This is the example. By the end of this workshop, students are expected to, again, action verb, value, verb object, existence of multi-ethnic groups, context in the rural classroom, performance criteria, which is the observable behavior, creating 6 rules to practice respectful behavior. For the psychomotor outcomes, students need to show skills using the verb apply, adapt, adjust, and many more. Here's the example. By the end of this unit, students are expected to our action verb apply, verb object, model birds and tourism vocabulary, context in the rural classroom, performance criteria, designing a Facebook page to promote local attraction. In summary, always make sure they represent observable and measurable students' behavior. Don't confuse them. Don't confuse with the learning outcomes with the learning objectives. Become familiarized with the benefits that the learning outcomes bring to the teaching learning process, and learn how to differentiate and integrate the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor outcomes. Next, how what are the sources of student learning outcome or SLO? Our learning outcome or the student learning outcomes may from the institution mission statement, uh, policies, competencies, and standard by the government education agency. Like, for example, here in Philippines, the curriculum guide, this CG, and uh, CMO or CHED Memorandum Order given by the Commission on Higher Education or CHED. And of course, the trust and development goals of the national government. So, what are the 3 domains of educational activities? The 3 domains of educational activities are the following. One is cognitive. It's referring to the mental skills or the knowledge. Affective, referring to the growth in feeling or emotions or the attitude. Psychomotor, referring to manual or physical skills or the skills. So, in preferring our learning outcomes, we follow Though and one, the cognitive, the knowledge, and we have here categories or levels. We always follow the revised Bloom's of taxonomy by Anderson's. So the first level is remembering. Learners can, in remembering level, learner can recall information and relevant knowledge from long-term memory. So we can use or utilize the outcomes verb define, describe, identify, label, match, and etc. Like for example, learning outcome statement. Oh, I use the outcomes verb identify. Identify different type of soil. So in this learning outcomes, the student or the learner simply recall the information on the type of soil. Second example, match the word with a part of the picture of a showing machine. So again, it is a simply recall or remembering level. The next category or level is understanding. Learner can construct meaning from oral, written, and graphic messages. We can utilize here the outcome verbs distinguish, assimilate, explain, give example, interpret, paraphrase, and many more. So here's the example. Draw. I use the outcome verbs, verb draw and explain. Draw and label the parts of the corn plant. Second example, explain in one's own words the stages of the life cycle of butterfly. I hope you can learn on this presentation. Next category, applying. In a flying level, learner can use information to undertake a procedure in familiar situations. We can utilize the outcome verbs apply, change, prepare, and all these words. Example, learning outcome statement. I utilize use and prepare. Use the appropriate formula to compute the growth requirements of a goat. So in this learning outcome statement, the learners use information to undertake or to make a procedure. And again, another example, prepare daily menus for 1 week for a family of 6. Next level, analyzing. Analyzing level, learner distinguish between parts and determine how they relate to each other and the overall structure and purpose. So in analyzing level, we can use the outcome verbs analyze, compare, contrast, diagram, differentiate, illustrate, outline, and many more. So the learning outcomes that an example, I use analyze. Analyze is statistical tools needed in testing the difference between two means. And then another one, I use the outcome verb differentiate. Differentiate the physical characteristic of a frog and a human. Next, judgment and patterns. So here we use the following outcome verbs: conclude, criticize, critique, define, support, justify, evaluate, rate, coordinate, and all these outcome verbs. Example, I use the word conclude. Conclude the effects of varying amount of fertilizer applied to tomato plants. Okay, then the last one for the cognitive domain is the highest one, the creating. In creating level, learner can put elements together to form a functional whole or create a new product or make a new output or new product. We can utilize the following outcome verbs: categorize, combine, compile, compose, devise, design, plan, organize, rearrange, generate, modify, and many more. Example of learning outcome statements: design an idea ranch which is good for raising 1,000 goats. Second, example, write a syllables for a school subject. So those are the categories and the outcome verbs that we can utilize when we are crafting or formulating the learning outcomes under the cognitive or knowledge level domain. Next, for the psychomotor domain, which is we are want to develop the skills of the student. We have here the lower category or lower level, observing. Here, the learner active mental attention to a physical activity. Simply the learners watch or observing a certain video or a presentation. So we can utilize the outcome verb watch, detect, differentiate, describe, and select. Example: watch the movement pattern of the vermi or worm. Detect nonverbal communication cues and observe and read directions. The second level or second category in making a learning outcomes for psychomotor domain is imitating. Imitating a learner attempts to copy as physical behavior. We can utilize the verb outcome verb begin, explain, move, display, proceed, react, show, state, and volunteer. Example: move properly the adjustment of a machine as you are watching video guide. This is the example of learning outcome statement or imitating. Next category is practicing. Here, the learner is performing a specific activity repeatedly. So we can utilize this outcome words, the bend, calibrate, construct, differentiate, and many more. Example: operate quickly, accurately the microscope. Next, display competence of performing. The last category in psychomotor domain is adapting. When we say adapting, the student fine-tune the skills and make mind adjustment to that and perfection. Here we can utilize traits: the organize, relax, shorten, sketch, rearrange, prepare, compose, create, design, organize, and modify. Example: construct a new sequence, apply skill in new situation, create a new route, develop a new program. Number one, receive. Receiving a willingness of learner to listen, being aware or sensitive to something, or being willing to listen and pay attention. So we can use the following one, to describe, follow, locate, identify, name, reply, and uses. Example of learning a statement or receiving: listen to farmers' stories and experiences with respect. Locate the ideal case of water supply. Second example. Next category under affective domain is responding of showing. Here, the learners show willingness to participate or a movement response in some way show the idea of listening or knowledge. Here, the answer assess, assist, comply, inform, discuss, grade, help, perform, facilitate, recite, report, etc. An example of non-understanding, participate in discussion activity. Practice, another example, practice learn of partnering habitually. Learners willing to be involved. They show willingness to be perceived as valuing or valuing certain ideas. In valuing, we can use the following story. The following outcomes: complete, demonstrate, differentiate, explain, follow, invite, and all these words. Example, share the value of patient. Another example, demonstrate belief in the concept or process. And third example, show ability to solve problems. Next, the last one for third belief, not all category is organizing. The willingness of learner to be an advocate, or it is a values into priorities, creating a unique value system by comparing, relating, and synthesizing values. So we can use here the following outcome verbs: arrange, combine, prioritize, complete, adhere, alter, and all these words. Example, prioritize time effectively to meet the needs of the organization, family, and self. Another example, explain the role of systematic planning in solving problems. Third example, inform management or supervisor matter about attention. So thank you very much. So I will now proceed to the next topic, which is because in constructing a test, our dear audience, learning outcomes and table of specification is the prerequisite, are the prerequisite. So the session objective here at the end of the session, the audience or participant with 90% accuracy can define table of specification. Second, explain the purpose of table of specification. Third, identify the benefits of table of specification or TOS. Fourth, identify the things should be taken into account when building a table of specification, and calculate on the table of specification. What is the table of specification? Table of specification of our audience is a chart that provides graphic presentation of a related to the content or to the body of knowledge or the topic of a course or curriculum elements and the educational objectives. It also a two-way chart which describe the topics to be covered in a test and the number of items or points which will be associated with each topic. So sometimes the type of items are described as well. As I know, the second resource speaker will discuss those example of type of test. In summary, our audience table of specification or TOS is a tool it's an instrument that we can use to ensure that a test or an assessment measures the content and thinking skills that the test intend to measure. So, what is the purpose of table of specification? First, the most important of table of specification is to achieve balance in text and to identify the achievements domain such as the knowledge, the skills and attitudes being measured and to ensure that represent the example question appear on the test. Second, specification allow us to ensure that our test focuses on the most important area, most important topic with different areas based on their importance or time spent teaching. Specification also gives us the full need to make sure our test has content validity. So that is important. So whether the benefits of specifications as a simple goal help us in building a list. It also achieve the reliability and the validity of the text. Third, giving students self-confidence about the justice of the text. And of course, selecting a representative sample from those topics that you tackled in certain period or set as a center. For example, in first grading setting or in what critical course that you are going to be tested. And then see through that for each lesson. These are the benefits of constructing table of specification. Things that should be taken into account when building or constructing a table of specification. So when you design your table of specification, it must based on learning outcomes or subject or course, topics covered in class of course, amount of time spent on those topics, textbook after topics, the emphasis and space provided in the text. So the table of specific could be a design in three simple steps. First, identify the content that is to be tested, whether it is affective, uh, psychomotor, or cognitive domain. Second, break the domain into levels. Example, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The table, the table of specification. Here's the example on how to calculate the table of specifications. First, we learn outcomes. So, here's the example. It's when you fully learn or there's number of them, assuming that I have five test items. So here's I will show you how to compute it. And we have here the low level in the cognitive domain, the learning and understanding, the highest level, applying, analyzing, calculating, and creating. Now, how to compute the percent of time spent on object. So here's the uh, formula on computing the percentage of past time spent on learning outcomes. So formula number one, prove that this one, the learning outcomes, number one, explain the 14 learner center psychological principles. I allotted it with 30 minutes. So this is the competition. Time spent on time, topic or learning outcomes, divided by learning outcomes, or no, time spent on topic or learning outcomes divided by total time and times 100%. So here, the time spent on topic or learning outcome is 30 minutes. So here's the 30 minutes. The total number of time spent on topic is 75 because LO number one has a 15 minutes. Then the third one is 30 minutes. So a total of 75. So 30 divided by 75 times 100 equal to 40%. So meaning percent of class time spent on objective number one is 40%. Now, how to get the number of test item, assuming that I have five test item. So here's the competition. N- Number on test, percentage of time spent on the learning outcomes, number one, times the total number of items, and this is the result. So in LO number one, or learning outcome number one, we have a percentage of time spent on the learning number one, that is 40% times 5 items, the total number items. So in LO number one, I have two items. So this is it, two items. So it is our prerogative to choose where we put that test item. So assuming that I put in remembering level or in lower level here, so I will use multiple choice question, and the other item I put here in highest level, which is the applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, and it is a short answer test. So the same with other LO. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mom, for your wonderful presentation. Although your connection is not too strong because of the weather in the Philippines, because of the effect of Typhoon Odette. Yes, so Mom, thank you so much. That's true. The prerequisite of constructing a test is we have to formulate um, the learning outcomes and also the table of specification, just like what you have mentioned a while ago, Mom, that are the prerequisites of constructing a test. And in constructing a test, we have to know what is learning outcome, the tips for developing learning outcomes, and also to know the domains of life, three domains of learning rather, which are the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So, Mom, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you
so
very much.
yes, Mom, you are welcome. So now let us proceed to our next speaker. So our next speaker is the Ma'am Ana Margarita Agaw Agaw. Ma'am Margarita Agaw Agaw is Assistant Professor 5, College of Education at Mindanao State University, Maguindanao, Philippines. She is also a academic coordinator. So there, our participants, please help me welcome our second speaker, Ma'am Ana Margarita Agaw-Agaw from the Philippines. Hello, Ma'am. Good evening.
Hello, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My due respect to all of you, the Institute of Global Professionals, and of course, my due respect and high regard to the officials of Mindanao State University, Maguindanao, headed by our Chancellor, Dr. Bahijiran Nefertiti M. Limbona, and of course, our College Dean, Dr. Marisa N. Parcon. So, I am preparing my presentation to you. Huh, here. Hmm. I am going to share it now. Just a window. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed the presentation. Here it is. I hope you can see this one. Just the window. Okay. May I know if you can see my presentation now?
Yes, Ma'am. We can see it,
Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Good luck,
So
Ma'am.
thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, my greetings of peace to everyone, especially the IGP or the Institute of Global Professional Staff and the participants for this tonight session, the test construction. I am Ana Margarita A. Agaw-Agaw from Philippines. And we are here having our time to learn what is test construction as the continuation of the topic of Dr. Kadtong. She started with so many, just like how to make the learning objectives and of course the TOS before constructing your test. But before having such one, I would like here to give you a very short question. Why do teachers give assessment? Is it that important? Yeah, I have here a question. Why do teachers give assessment? What happened to this? In answering the question, it's very simple. Why do we give assessment? Because we wanted to know how, where, when. How to scaffold our students, where to start our scaffolding with our students, and when to start scaffolding with our students. That is the very essence, I think, of giving assessment. Because teachers are having such a moment wherein we have to give what is necessary for our learners. After teaching them the lesson that we had, we have to ask them how far they have learned. That is why we give assessment. Here, there are three types of assessment. First, we are assessing for learning. What is this all about? We have here focuses on the gap between where a learner is in learning and where she needs to be. What is our desired goal? That is why we give assessment. This can be achieved through processes such as learning, such as sharing criteria with our learners, effective questioning, and feedback. So we also have one because our learners learn best if they understand clearly what are the feedback that we are going to give to them. We have to share with them what we going to assess on them and what advice and why are they need to be fully involved in the assessment for learning. Huh? Second, we're giving assessment as learning. When we give assessment as learning, it is about reflecting on evidence of learning. Teachers and learners set learning goals, right? According to Dr. Kadong, as she mentioned, we have to have our learning objectives. We need to have our learning competencies to achieve. And that is our learning goals. So with that learning goals, we share learning intentions and success criteria. What do we need to achieve? and evaluate their learning through dialogue and self and peer assessment. After giving them the assessment, we need to give feedback on them. And the third one, why do teachers give assessment, is we assess because we need assessment of their learning. It involves working with a range of available evidence that enables teachers to check students' progress. Yeah, we need to check their progress. It provides an arena for the management and planning and teachers to work collaboratively with the evidence. We need to know, we need to give judgment about students' learning, need to be dependable. Are the results of the assessment valid based on the criteria that we set? Are the results reliable? Is it accurate? And is it really the practice that we need to know? And is the result or the results comparable? So we need to know again the result as our basis for planning, and so that we can work collaboratively again for them, for the students, and with our colleague as teachers also. So now I guess you know, why do teachers give assessment? There are three things: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. Those are the things. And now, what are the types of assessment? Are we just simply asking them, do you know this one? Do you know these things? Can you manage this one? Can you manage these things? I guess no. We need to know what are the types of assessment that we're going to give. Probably we look into first the lesson, the session given by Dr. Cantong. We have to look into our learning objectives. We have also to look into the competencies. We have also to look into the desired goal that our students should possess. So now, what are the types? So we have first diagnostic. Yeah. Diagnostic learning assessment, I should say, usually occur at the beginning of the school year and before each unit of study. Why usually occur at the beginning of the school year? What is its purpose? Because it is where teachers and of course students should know where to start the learning activity. It aims to determine students' knowledge and skills in their. Oh my God. Mama, it's naka-share screen. Okay, for a while. Uh-huh. It is there already, ma'am. So we have
Ma'am,
here,
so
yes,
I'm so sorry to interrupt po. Ma'am, kindly
yes po.
click F5 or slideshow. Okay. Okay, so we have to wait. Okay, where is mom? Okay, please wait, our dear audience. Okay, it's here.
Okay, it's here.
Okay, ma'am.
Uh, that is already the slide I am sharing.
Not yet, mom.
Not yet. So what happened to this? I'm actually sure. Okay, here.
Okay, share, then click slideshow or F5.
So I have this one. Share.
Yes, share, then,
Uh-huh. Just the window. Here.
okay.
Share. Okay, is that so already, ma'am?
Uh, yes, ma'am. So,
Okay.
can you click slideshow, ma'am, so that you can discuss it continuously?
Actually, I'm
Slideshow.
already here. Here in my laptop, I'm already here. Share in the slideshow.
Okay, so, okay, ma'am. So if you
Okay.
want to go to the next slide,
Okay.
then click next slide.
Uh-huh. Is that okay now already?
Mm,
Uh-huh.
not
I
yet,
am
ma'am.
already. Uh-huh. What
I
happened
think,
to
ma'am,
this?
you have to share the one in slideshow because you have window then slideshow.
My window. Then I have here the slideshow.
Okay.
For a while. I will go back. Here, I have here. This is already the one that I have. I share screen again. Just, when I'm going to have this one, the command is stop sharing. Stop screen.
So I think, ma'am, you have shared the one in what is that in Windows. So I think you have to present because you have two. The one in slideshow and the other one is in Windows. So I think you have to present the one that is in slideshow.
For a moment.
Okay, sure, sure.
So I have here. This is already here,
Okay,
but
so
it is stop sharing. And then come again. I will repeat the sharing. I have here share screen, and then I am just going to click the window here. This one, this one. Okay, let me try
okay, we
again.
cannot see it.
Okay.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Then is that already the one that I
Full
am
screen or
sharing?
you can.
Okay, slideshow from the current slide. Now,
Okay, then
what are the types of assessment? That is one I am
yes,
sharing
ma'am.
here in my laptop.
Yes, ma'am.
Is
So
it?
we can see what are the types of
Yeah,
assessment.
that is
Yes.
already here.
Okay.
Okay. So, shall we continue or I need to go back to the previous slides that I have?
Continue, ma'am. Continue.
Okay, thank you
Continue.
so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. So here, let us hear again. Now we are on the what are the types of assessment because we cannot simply say that just give assessment as simply asking them, do you know these things or not? What they want to know and why they need to know. So we are giving them the different types, just like here the diagnostic. When you say diagnostic, it is given usually before the beginning of the school year and before each unit of study. Why? Because as teachers, you need to park where you should park so that you can start again another journey for your students. That is why we are asking them to answer the diagnostic test so that we can know how far they have gone already, how far they have known already on the certain topic that we are going to discuss. And it aims to determine students' knowledge and skills, their learning needs, and their interests. That is actually the purpose of diagnostic tests. Second type is formative. In formative assessment, we have here focuses on processes and product of learning. It is continuous. Why continuous? It is meant to inform the student, the parent, and the teacher of the student's progress toward the curriculum. In other words, we are giving this formative assessment because students or learners become more aware of what they are learning. That is why we have here the what we say the help of the peer. Huh? They are making themselves responsible for what they are learning. That is why it is continuous, and that is why we also give the information to the parents and of course the students on their progress. Next, we have the summative. From the term summative, we have sum, the total. It occurs more often at the end of a unit of instruction and term or year end when students are ready to demonstrate achievement of curriculum objectives. Here, we are asking students to be, we are giving our students judgment about students' learning that which is need to be dependable. We also have set the criteria if they have already known things which is intended for the whole curriculum for the whole year, or say for the whole unit. And we have now what are the types of assessment tools. We know already what are the types of assessment, and then now what are the tools that we need to use for them to be measured. Okay, let us try. Number one, I guess, we have here observation. Yeah. When you are observing our learners, it's not simply that you are just there standing looking at them, but as teachers, we need to observe, and of course, we need to take down notes on our observation things, on the things that we observe on their students. We should have our note that could be formed as our anecdotal records of their achievement. In this time, teachers should have the leeway. They should have the creativity on what type of assessment tool can have as an observation. You can have a simple piece of paper, and then you can put it in just in an envelope, or you can have it in the folder. You can paste it in the folder as the file in the filer of our student, so that at the end of the things that you are going to review the observation, you have there the records telling you that this student is getting well, that these students need scaffolding more, and many things. Another tool is the checklist. Checklist is just very simple. If you have there the checklist, maybe if you have already devised a checklist for the learners, you can simply also give check, just tick now some areas where students have the improvement. And another thing, you have the rating scale and the rubrics. The rating scale and the rubrics is the same with somewhat like a checklist. You may just check, you may just check or just tick on the things on the area where the students need to be rated. Next, we have portfolios. This is very common to us, especially this pandemic, that we're using our portfolios. Our students are passing their portfolios of learning. But one thing that we should remember in having the portfolios are make sure that those are the evidence of learning of our students. Now, we are going to make sure that these things included in the portfolio are very beneficial evidence of students' learning. And we should also set our criteria. We should also have our checklist there. What are the things that they need to include in the portfolio as evidence of their learning? Another tool is the speaking and listening. This pandemic, it is not impossible. It is still very possible to measure the speaking skills and the listening skills of our learners. Yes, you know that there are things possible to happen if one, especially the teachers and the learners, work collaboratively. And we also have the interviews and the conferences. And another one, we have the projects and presentations. In the projects and the presentations, things also should be taken into consideration, just like the purpose, the main purpose of assessment. We cannot just simply give a project because we want this one to be given to us with our students. You're just going to tell them you submit this because this is necessary in our classroom. No. If it is not part of the objectives of the curriculum, then that project and that presentation cannot be formed part of our assessment tool. And we have here the last one, which is very common, the quizzes, the test, and we have here our examinations. Yeah, that quizzes. That is very common, especially the time that we're having our face-to-face. In the time of this new normal education, we have modifications on our quizzes. We use the Google form. We also use the learning management system or the e-learning tool. And what shall we do? What are the things that we need to remember in writing or constructing our quizzes, our tests, and our exam? First thing is here, construct test items to accommodate the different ways that students learn and demonstrate what they have learned or can do. You have to Now, accommodate the different ways that students learn and demonstrate what they have learned or can do. Again, it should anchor on the learning objectives as mentioned by Dr. Kadong, and of course, the competencies provided in our curriculum. Second guideline, ensure that test items measure curriculum objective accurately and fairly. Why? There is a need of the alignment of the curriculum objective and the evaluation, because we have to know how far have our students learned in that certain topic, because that is the bottom line, or the end user, the end product of our lecture is the assessment, or the result of the assessment given to our learners. Third, use a variety of test formats. There are different test formats also. You have to consider also the things, just like how would you give it? Is it on the paper test? Is it on the virtual test? Is it where in the classroom? Is it under the tree? Is it online? You have to consider it also. And of course, state test items clearly and precisely. That's the most important thing. Clearly and precisely. And number five, construct test items that allow students to demonstrate and apply what they have learned. This is the most important thing also to do, that you have your TOS from our learning objectives of our curriculum guide. We have the competencies to be achieved, then we have our objectives, then we have our table of specifications, where in that table specifications we should also the alignment of our learning objectives from the curriculum to the number of items to be given to a certain topic. Huh? And we have provide opportunities to build necessary scaffolds for students. Again, we have to scaffold our students. Then we have here number 7, use oral assessment when written responses are not feasible, especially if you are testing or you are giving assessment on the speaking skills, especially if the criteria is telling you that the oral assessment is necessary, because the written responses are not possible by that criteria. The number 8, use performance test items when students are required to demonstrate competence directly. Yeah, just like when you are having your PE, physical education examination, you cannot give them simply the paper test. You have to give them the performance test, just like performing the activities, the exercises. And when you are teaching broadcasting, of course, the performance test cannot be shown in the way they're just going to write the script on the radio or in TV, but it is performance test just like when they really deliver the broadcasting. Huh? And then we have number 9, construct open-ended response items when it is appropriate. Now, open-ended response items, if it is appropriate. And number 10, ask students to demonstrate their learning using progress check. So, using the progress check, this time it's not the teachers, but it is the students. By making a drawing, you can ask them to draw. This is on the creating, the diagrams, and any graphic organizers. So, I guess with these guidelines, you are ready for the phases of evaluation. So what is the first phase? What shall we do first? Here it is. Of course, teachers should prepare. We are on the preparation phase. Teachers decide what is to be evaluated. So where to know that? Where to get that one? What is to be evaluated? It is on the learning outcomes or in the competencies in our curriculum. And the type of evaluation to be used. So what are the types? It could be diagnostic, it could be formative, or it could be summative. So that is in the preparation phase. Decide first what is to be evaluated and the type of evaluation to be used. Then, During the assessment phase, that is second phase, after knowing what is to be evaluated and how, what type of evaluation, teachers select appropriate tools and techniques, then collect and collate information on students' progress. What appropriate tools and techniques you are going to use? So, and after that, during the evaluation phase, teachers interpret the assessment information and make judgment about student progress. And the last phase here, the reflection phase, it allows teachers to consider the extent which the previous phases in the evaluation process have been successful. So if you think the first, the second, or the third mismatch with the objectives, with the competencies, again, on the next time around, the teacher should revise, rewrite the draft of the test item. Now here, already you have prepared, you have already here up to the end of reflecting. It is now on the constructing the test. It is the set of activities involved in developing and evaluating a test of some psychological function. Okay, we are now ready to construct our test. Here, we have three stages of test construction. So, of course, we should start with the planning. We're going to decide what to evaluate and what type of assessment are we going to give. What is the goal? What is the format? And what is the task? Okay, what is the task? For example, you're going to give them the true or false question. That is on the planning stage. What is your objective? To evaluate what they have learned. And then the format of the test. Is it to be written, paper and pen? It is to be done in the online platform. And how to do it? Is it matching type, true or false, multiple choice, and others? And after that, you have already the plan, you design. Now, things to do in designing, you're going to collect the test material. First, of course, you have to collect. Second, you are going to write the draft. Then you are going to evaluate if the draft is good enough. And after evaluating, if there are corrections, if there are suggestions for improvement, you are going to rewrite the draft. And of course, on the development phase, you have to pilot. Eventually, you have to pilot if that is valid and reliable. And after that, if it gives you the good result, it's time for you to revise. So there are three stages, of course, planning, designing, and development. So we have here the commonly used tasks in giving the test. Here we have the multiple choice, here the single response item, multiple response item, then the true or false, the ranking, the C close, the matching type, the hotspot, the open answer, we have here the text numeric, the close, and the extended response. So these are non-exhaustive list of commonly used tasks. Okay? But we're just going to choose one or two of these as our practice here. We have to choose first the multiple choice questions. In writing the multiple choice questions, you should, okay, the questions as possible should be included in the STEM. As much of the question as possible should be included in the STEM. Then make sure there is only one clearly correct answer. Na? Let us not be biased with our learners. Make sure that there is only one clearly correct answer. Third, make sure the correct answer is not given away also by its being noticeably shorter or longer or more complex than the distractors. Huh? Although there's only one correct answer, but it should not be noticeably given right away to our learners. So if you are,
Mom,
yes,
Mom, I am very, very sorry to interrupt po, Mom. Mom, you have to click your slide one by one because we can see only the first your first slide. What are the types of assessment? Yeah, so
I
ma'am,
actually,
can
actually, I have been
yeah,
clicking
so
it.
ma'am, okay, ma'am. So yeah, like that, ma'am. You have to click it one by
So
one
meaning I
because
cannot do
difference
it.
from I am very okay, ma'am. So you have to click it one by one.
So I cannot just do this full screen show.
Yeah, I think that's
Mm-mm.
maybe, ma'am.
No, I
Mm,
cannot do the full screen show here. So maybe just going to do this.
yeah. That yes,
Okay?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So thank you
Sige,
so
sige.
much, ma'am, and I'm very very sorry po. Thank you. Thank you.
Sige.
Okay.
So the first time, the things before happening is not there. Sige lang. Okay, so we are here already on number 2. Let's go back to number 2, number 3. Here, make sure that the correct answer is not given away by its being noticeably shorter, longer, or more complex than the structures. Although there is only one clearly correct answer, but we should not give it away. And then number 4, make the wording in the response choices consistent with the item stem. Consistent with the stem. And number 5, beware of using answers such as, none of this or all of the above. Beware. No? Because we're getting biased with our students with that one. No? None of this or all of the above. Why? You're having the multiple choice questions and then all of this or all of the above or none of this will be the answer. Okay. Then number 6, we have use negative sparingly in the question or stem. Do not use double negatives. Na? This is one of the guidelines here. Do not use double negatives. And then number 7, beware of using sets of opposite answers unless more than one pair is presented. But still, we shall avoid this one if possible. So there are 7 guidelines that we need to remember in writing the multiple choice question. And now we are ready to construct our multiple choice question. What things that we should to remember? We have first go back to the planning stage. What is the goal or the objectives of the lesson? The competencies that we need to master? What is the goal of that lesson, for example? So we have to remember, in giving the test, it should anchor with the goal. Second, the format. Is it paper-based or is it digital? And the third, the task is multiple choice. So you have already on the planning page phase, you have your goal, you have your format, and you have your task. Next phase is you are going to start the designing. So, in designing, you have to collect the test material. You're going to write the draft. You're going to evaluate the draft. And you're going to rewrite the draft. So, we have your example. Which type of objective test is best for evaluating mastery of facts and information? So, there are 4 choices: the multiple response, the true or false, the completion type, or the essay. So, if this is already good enough, after writing the draft, we have already evaluated and this is good enough, and this is your final question to be given to your learners, then you have to do the development. If that is ready, here you have your which type of our objective test. This is the question, this is the very essence objective test. Are these things connected to this objective test? Is multiple response, the true or false, the completion type in the essay, an objective test? If not, then you choose the best answer here. You think as a learner also. You should think what you should do. And if these things is good enough already, then ready to give this to our learners. Huh? How about if we are going to write or construct the true or false questions? Okay. The true or false questions, there are only two options. There are only two choices. Is it true or is it false? But there are things that we need to remember in constructing the true or false question. First, do not give a hint. Now, do not give a hint in the body of questions. For example, we have here, the Philippines gained its independence in 1898 and therefore celebrated its centennial in year 2000. Is it true or false? Of course, definitely you have here the hint. Centennial is 100 years, then 1898 plus 100 should not be year 2000. Definitely, the answer is false. Next, rule number 2, avoid using the words always, never, and often, and other adverbs that tend to be either always true or always false. Okay, just like this one. Christmas always falls on a Sunday because it is a Sabbath day. So the word always here indicates that it is just Sunday, which is false also. So avoid using it. Then, rule number 3, avoid long sentences as these tend to be true. You keep your sentences short, just like this one. Tests need to be valid, reliable, and useful, although it would require a great amount of time and effort to ensure that tests possess these test characteristics. So, this could be true all the time because you have the follow up here. Na? Next, we have rule number 4. Avoid trick statements with some minor misleading word or spelling anomaly, misplaced phrases, and others. So we have here the example. The principal of our school is Mr. Albert P. Panadero. From this alone, this is principle is a tricky statement. This one is a tricky statement caused by wrong spelling here. This could be true if and only if this principle referred to is the word principal, and if and only if Mr. Albert P. Panadero is really the principal of the school. Na? Here we have a wise student who does not know the subject matter may detect this strategy and thus get the answer correctly. So with that case, we defeated the purpose of evaluating our learners. Rule number 5, avoid quoting verbatim from reference materials or textbook. Why? Because it sends the wrong signal to the students that it is necessary to memorize the textbook word for word, and thus, acquisition of higher level thinking skills is not given due importance. Now, we should not be copying verbatim from the textbooks or from the reference materials. Maybe we can rephrase. And we have rule number 6. Avoid specific determiners or give away qualifiers. Okay, just like this one, the never, the no, the all, or even the always. Students quickly learn that strongly worded statements are more likely to be false than true. For example, with the statements never. So we have moderately worded statements are more likely to be true than false. Statements with many, often, sometimes, generally, frequently, or some should be avoided also. In the same manner, we are going to avoid this statement here, these words here, and this one here. And rule number 7, and I guess this is the last rule in writing the true or false question. Write true or false questions. With true or false questions, avoid a grossly disproportionate number of either true or false statements, or even patterns in the occurrence of true and false statements. Because we will, if we will do that, and then if students can spot that we are having such pattern, our purpose of giving the test again will be defeated. So there are two things that we're going to remember here in writing the multiple choice and writing the true or false questions. Again, we are going to look into the assessment of our learners as what it is to be mastered based on the competencies, based on the objectives, based on the learning outcomes in our curriculum. So, with that, I would say productivity is never an accident. It is always the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. That is according to Paul Mayer. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wow, very clear presentation, Mom. Thank you so much, Mom, because we know the types of assessment and the rules in constructing different types of assessment. Thank you so much, Mom. That's a very clear presentation. And we all know that all assessment methods have different purposes during and after instruction. Just like what you have mentioned, we have the pre-assessment or a diagnostic assessment. So before creating the instruction, it is necessary to know for what kind of students you're creating the instruction. We also have the formative assessment, summative assessment, confirmative assessment, non-reform assessment, and other types of assessment. And thank you so much, Mom, because you discussed to us the rules of constructing a test. Just like, for example, in true or false and in multiple choice, sometimes we forgot that we we should avoid giving a hint to the students, otherwise they will know the answer. Right, Mom? And sometimes we construct a very long sentence, which is not good in constructing a true or false question. So thank you so much, Mom. That's a very relevant information to all of us. Thank you so much, Mom, for your remarkable presentation. Okay, so dear participants, please let us thank Mom Ma'am Ana Margarita Agaw-Agaw for her wonderful presentation tonight. Once again, thank you po, ma'am. Okay, so dear our participants, let us proceed now for our quiz competition. Okay, so be ready. And the code for tonight quiz competition is IGP quiz. You can also see it in our comment box. Then after the quiz competition, we will proceed to Q&A. Okay, so again, our code for tonight quiz competition is IGP quiz. Please go to www. Okay, so again, um, Please use the code IGP quiz for tonight quiz competition. Okay, and don't forget to use your complete name when you are joining the quiz competition for your certificate. Okay, hi, Mom. Imelda, Nico, Joella, Marivic, Dr. Rajesh. Okay, so right now we have more than 30 participants for our quiz competition. So please keep on joining, and the code is IGP quiz. Wow, wonderful. Okay, everybody, please use the code IGP quiz. This is also available in our comment box. And again, don't forget to use your complete name for your certificate. Okay, so I think we have to start now. Question number one. Learning outcomes refers to the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that students need to demonstrate in every lesson or learning activity. Is it true or false? Okay, 97% said true while 3% said false. So, again, congratulations to the 97 participants who got the correct answer for question number one. Is it true? Very good. Okay, let us move on to our question number two. And right now, the top one is Mom and Keleda. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Followed by Sir Feruz, Dennis. Okay. Question number two. The future table of specifications stated that the specified action by the learners must be observable, measurable, verifiable, and done by the learners. Is it true or false? Wow, okay. So congratulations to the 88% participants who got the correct answer. Yes, that is true. Okay, our top one now is Sir Feruz, followed by Sir Dennis, Anna Marie, Romel, and Nico. Okay, question number three. Learning outcomes designed from the perspective of what the teacher, not the student, is responsible for in the classroom. Is it true or false? Oh, okay. 47 said true, while 60% said or answered false. And yes, that is the correct answer. So 60% of our participants got the correct answer. And right now, our top one is Mom Anna Marie. Okay. Let us move on to question number four. Learning outcomes helps teacher selecting teaching and assessment strategies. Is it true or false? Wow, 100% said true, and that is the correct answer. So it means you really understand the discussion tonight. Congratulations. So right now, our top one is Sir Dennis. Hmm. Okay, question number 5. The policies, competencies, and standards by government education agencies is a source of student learning outcomes. Is it true or false? Okay, the correct answer for question number 5 is true, and 85% of the participants got the correct answer. Very good. Okay, still our top one is Venice. We still have 5 questions more. Okay, 6. In applying level, the learner can distinguish between parts and determine how they relate to one another and to the overall structure and purpose. Is it true or false? Okay, so the correct answer for question number 6 is false. Then only 6% of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, so our top one now is Lamberto, followed by Venice. Okay, question number 7. In creating level, the learner can put elements together to form a functional whole or create a new product. Is it true or false? Okay, 92% of the participants answered true, and yes, that is the correct answer for question number 7. Okay, still the top one is Lamberto, 7 over 7. Oh, okay. Question number 8. In the observing level, the learner attempts to copy a physical behavior. Is it true or false? Okay, the correct answer is false, and 41% of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, let us see who is the top one. Okay, still Lamberto is the top one. 8 over 8. Okay, question number 9. In practicing level, the learner is performing a specific activity repeatedly. Is it true or false? Okay, the correct answer is true, and 87% of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, so our top one now is Ma'am Marites, followed by Romel, Dennis, and Lamberto. Number 5 is Nico. Okay, last question. In responding category, the learner has willing to listen. Is it true or false? Okay, so the correct answer for question number 10 is false, and only 23% of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, so let us see now who are the top 10 winners for tonight quiz competition. So we have Romel, John C. Aquino, followed by Emily, Feruz, Dennis, Marites, who, who else? So I cannot see them. So once again, congratulations to all of you. You are all winners. But congratulations to our top 10 winners for tonight quiz competition. So, the number 10 is Ma'am Ida. Okay. Okay, sorry, Ma'am Imelda. Okay, so we have to get only 10 participants for the quiz competition, or the winners, our top 10 winners for quiz competition. So do not worry. Every day we have a webinar, so you have a chance to win. Okay, so be prepared because we are going to, or we are about to proceed to our Q&A portion. Okay, Mom. Good evening again. So, okay, before I forgot, on behalf of the IGP, so we are glad to announce you that starting tomorrow, you can get your certificate actually after this. So, we will announce the certification process. So, after this session, you can get your certificate. Okay? So, hello, Mom Mayada and Mom Anna. Are
Hello.
you
Hello.
ready? Are you ready for our question and answer portion?
Q&A.
Yes, I know you are
Ready.
100% ready. Okay, so please, our participants, don't forget to address the name of the speaker when you want to ask question. Okay, so if you have any questions, clarifications, you can ask our speakers. Okay, so please ask question. Let's wait. Okay, so we have question number one from Mom Manolita. Sir Kamrul, can I see her question? Okay, so we have question number one
Mm.
from Mom Manolita. Mom Manolita, good evening. For both speakers, what solution will you propose with respect to two options versus four options multiple choice type of questions and why? Wonderful question. Thank you so much, Ma'am Manolita. So, Ma'am Anna or Ma'am Margarita, you can answer. What solution will you propose with respect to two options versus four options multiple choice type of questions? Then why?
Okay, good evening, Ma'am Manolita Oligo. The
Mm,
questions two multiple choice two options versus the four options. Actually,
mm,
if we're going to look into the assessment, we're in looking back into the objectives of our competency, no? Objective or the learning outcome. For me, I think it doesn't matter as long as it measures what we really need to measure as to
mm.
based on the objective and to the skills that need to be measured to our learners po. I
Okay, good
don't have
evening, Ma'am Manolita. The questions to
Yes,
multiple choice,
that's
two
true,
options
Mom.
versus four options. Actually,
We
if
have
we're going to
to
look into the
assess if we meet our objective. Yes, thank you so much, Mom, for your wonderful answer. Mom Amayeda, do you want to add? What solution will you propose with respect to two options versus four options, multiple choice type of questions? Then why?
okay, thank you, Ma'am Olega. So, as what Ma'am Anna stated a while ago, no,
Mm,
uh, vote option, it is our freedom as an educator, as a teacher, to choose among the two option
mm,
or the four choices. But
mm.
in our in our uh career as a teacher, we always use the four option multiple choice, because it is a standard test. Tama ba, Ma'am Ana? It is correct, Ma'am Ann?
Yes.
in the standard that we're having here, we have the four options. However, we should always remember what are we really going to measure with our learners.
Yes, yes, that's true, Mom. That's true. Thank you so much, Mom Anna and Mom Mayada, for your wonderful answer. Thank you. Oh, we have Sir Feroz. Hi, sir. Good evening. Okay, question to any speaker. What is the difference between testing and quiz? Okay. Testing and quiz. What are the difference between these two? Their differences. Okay, who wants to answer?
In the dimension of language,
uh,
by the way, good evening, assalamualaikum. In the
Yes.
dimension of language, we cannot test as to the taste, but we are giving test and quiz. In the general sense, actually, both are assessment and both are evaluating the learning outcomes, are evaluating the learning, the knowledge learned by our learners. But on the specific sense, we are giving quiz, just a short quiz. Maybe it is just a formative form of assessment. And testing in the specific sense, in our jargon, we are giving it somewhat just like a summative. Maybe it could be a diagnostic, but both are
Mhm.
evaluation.
Yes, yes. Yes, that's true, Mom. How about you? Thank you so much, Mama Anna. How about you, Mama Eda? Do you want to add?
Thank you. So, as what again, what Ma'am Ana said, that the two testing and quiz is an evaluation. No,
Yes.
after after the instruction, we need to evaluate how far our student perform, or how far the knowledge or the skills they learn from that lesson. So, testing is a quiz, no? And quiz may be a test, no? So both are
Mm-hmm.
same. but the end of
Great.
the two terms is to assess the performance of the students. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Very good answer. Thank you so much, Mom Anna and Mom Mayeda. Wonderful answer. Wow, we also have question from Lamberto for Mom Mayeda. What are the items that we need to include in the making of our TOS? And what do you think are the most important to include? Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful question. Mom Anna, Mom Mayeda, rather.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful question. So, what are the items that we need to include in the making of the TOS? Of course, the lesson, no, that we discuss, no, to
Mm,
our student in a certain period of time. So, as
mm,
what I elaborate while ago, that we need to uh, include in our TOS the important topic, no? The important
mm.
learning outcomes that we need to test to our students. So, next question, what do you think are the most important to include?
To
Everything
include.
is important. It is depend upon you
Yes,
teachers. What are the knowledge, the skills that you want to test to your student? If you want to
yes.
test their knowledge, use all learning outcomes under the knowledge. If you want to test their skills, use the uh, skills domain, in your TOS. Thank you very much.
Wow, very clear answer, ma'am. Exactly. Needs to include all the topics that you discuss in your to your students. Okay, so thank you so much, Ma'am Mayeda. Wonderful answer. Okay, so any question? Okay, question number two from Ma'am Manolita again for both speakers. What are the challenges in constructing and administering an objective type of test for beginner students during the COVID-19 pandemic? Wonderful question. Thank you so much, Ma'am Manolita.
Yeah.
So, who wants to answer first? Who wants to answer first? Ma'am Mayeda?
Uh, I will, the one who will first to answer. Thank you
Mm.
very much again, ma'am, for the wonderful question. So, yes, constructing and administering the objective type of test is very challenging during this COVID-19
Mm.
pandemic. In fact, during the first semester, if I'm not mistaken, last year, 2020, all of us in the College of Education did not administer or use the objectives type. So we use subjective, no, the easy
Mm.
type of exam because it's very hard at the beginning. But uh, God will now, we already addressed because we have the what we call the LMS in our
Mm.
university where there is a uh, apps that we can upload our
Exams.
exam in
Lessons.
LMS.
Mm. Yes, wonderful answer. How about you, Ma'am Anna? Do you want to add?
In both cases, even if it is not pandemic and even in what level, the challenges that we met in constructing and administering the objective type of test is somewhat other students are just taking it for granted because they know they can just choose maybe some of the types of the objective test. They're just going to choose the answer, but for especially for this pandemic that we do not have much contact with our students in person, the only contact that we have is this one, the virtual, and administering the test somewhat. We look into the validity and the reliability of the result. That is really a challenge on during this time. However, for the beginner students refer maybe to the toddler, to the preschool students, ma'am. If that is the case, I cannot say so much because I was exposed and I am so much exposed in senior high school and college. I do not know how the preschool teachers address this issue in administering because
Yeah.
learners, beginner learners, are, especially if the parents don't have the gadget in the processing of learning, it's really somewhat really a challenging. Administering is really a
Mhm.
challenge for the teachers. No, if you know how to construct, then now how to administer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, ma'am. Very difficult during this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am Anna and Ma'am Mayeda for your wonderful answer. Wow, we also have a question from Sir Arki. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. In creating TOS, does it really requires to do the computation and why is it important to have it? I think this question is goes to Ma'am Mayanda. TOS.
Y- y- uh,
Mm.
yes, no. It is
Mm-mm.
really required to compute the TOS because remember that the one of the benefits of TOS to give balance in our test items. So it's
Mm.
really important to compute the our TOS.
Yes,
The
that's true, ma'am.
percentage of class time spent on that specific learning outcome times the total time frame times the 100%.
Yes, yes, that's true, ma'am. So, and ma'am, we also, Ma'am Anna and Ma'am Maida, please share to us your PowerPoint presentation so that we can upload to our website also, okay? So our students can have access to it. So thank you so much, Ma'am Mayeda, for your wonderful answer. Wow, we also have question from Ma'am Aida Ramirez Martinez. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, ma'am. Anyway, good evening. To Ma'am Anna, what other suggestions can you give in order not to give hints to multiple choice questions aside from always, not, etc. Thank you. So, Ma'am Anna. Okay, so
So good
thank you, Ma'am
evening, Ma'am
Aida.
Ida. So the
Mhm.
suggestions, I think I'm not an expert on it, but based on the readings that I have and the guidelines that we have, it's not actually that we are going to go away. But if it is necessary, it is possible because if you are going to write the adverbs, adverbs just like the always, it is giving them the hint that it is true or either false. So by that, we have to stick into the idea wherein what we give to our learners in the discussion. So to give them, is it really the thing that we need to measure? Is did they understand what you have given, what you have delivered? By the way,
Mm.
you cannot simply just use always and others to give multiple choice questions. The content, no, the content, just focus on the content, not necessarily on what they have to think of the adverb. Again, always, never, and many more, seldom, often should be
Mhm.
avoided. No, should be avoided
Mm.
because you are giving them the hint. Go into the
Mm.
content of the teaching and learning delivery because your focus or their purpose is to measure the knowledge. For example, the knowledge, the remembering, the understanding. So revise, restate, rephrase the questions to suit what you want to measure on them.
Okay, very clear answer, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, if possible, please, we have to avoid always, never, because the students will have a hint on the answer of our question. So, thank you so much, Ma'am Aida, rather, and Ma'am Anna for your wonderful answer. Wow, I saw another question. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for your active participation. I like it. So, Mom Anna Margarita, in your own opinion, in this time of pandemic, which is the best type of assessment that we could readily, easily utilize in assessing of learners' performance, then why? Okay, thank you so much, Lamberto, for your wonderful question. Ma'am Anna?
Thank you so much, sir. Again, this pandemic is really a challenge to all of us. No, it is really a
Mhm.
challenge. But look into what are you going to teach? What are you teaching? If I am
Mhm.
teaching the language, since I am an English teacher, I am teaching language, and then what I am going to measure as their performance. Suppose I am going to measure the oral presentation, then the way that I can give you is video. No, I am asking them the video call or prepared a pre-recorded video to assess their oral recitation or the oral performance of my learners, just like the just chance, the reader's theater, and other oral speaking tests. But if you are in my colleagues, just like they are teaching PE, physical education, what they are used to do are the things that just like again they have the video of the dances. The students are given chances to video their performance on the dance, even the exercises, and then they are sending it to their teachers. Although, again, we cannot rely on the validity and reliability of the
Mhm.
performance because they can pre-edit, they can have make it more beautiful as it is, more creative as it is, because you know the generation. But since we have to assess. So look into it. We are assessing the
Mhm.
performance and that's it. But for the students, especially if your students are electrical installation and maintenance, the senior high school, for instance,
Mhm.
I as as I was a teacher before in senior high school, I really avoid giving them tasks which could lead them to risky things, just like having the circuit, the electrical, and even the cooking. If it can hurt them, it can give them risk. So I do not allow them to do it. What I did was I visited. I asked them if the school is not open, maybe the barangay LGU is open for them for the performances. So we went to the
Mhm.
barangay. We performed them. We performed there with the consent of their parents. At least I was there to monitor what
Facilitate.
they are doing. Yeah. And actually the risk, no, the accountability of doing the activity. That's it po, sir.
Yes. Yeah, very clear answer, Mom. Yes. This pandemic's very challenging to measure the validity, reliability of our test exam. Okay, so wow, we also have question from Sir Carlo Malabanan. Okay, good evening, sir. So, is there a minimum requirements for the total items of exam when giving major exams? So, I think this question goes to Mama Yada. Okay, Mama Yada has some technical issues. Okay, so we have to wait for her. Oh, so, Mom, we need your help, Mom. Mom Anna. Question: is there a minimum requirements for the total items of exam
Okay.
when giving major exams? Oh, Mom Maeda. Okay, question, Mom.
Actually, yes. Yes. Uh, in a major exam, it must be at least minimum of 50 items. May I correct, Ma'am
Mm.
Ann? Mm-mm.
Okay,
Sometimes
minimum.
it matters. Sometimes the culture of the school also matters. But in
Mm-hmm.
considering the ability of our learners, for instance, you are teaching in elementary, in preschool, in high school, and tertiary, it also matters with the weight of the delivered materials to them. But in our culture, we are giving the minimum of 50 items.
Okay, minimum of 50 items. Okay, I hope it is clear, Sir Carlo. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, another question. Oh, no more questions. So, I think, Mom, the our participants really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you so much, Mom Ana Margarita Agaw-Agaw and Dr. Mayada Langoyo and Katong for your wonderful presentations tonight. Congratulations po. Congratulations.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you. And
Thank you.
our participants, please let us thank Ma'am Mayada and Ma'am Anna Margarita for their remarkable presentations tonight. Congratulations po. So, okay, so let us proceed to the steps of getting your e-certificate. Okay, so remember the topic for tonight's webinar is test construction with Ma'am Ana Margarita Agaw-Agaw and Dr. Maya Dalangoyo and Kantong. So I think, Ma'am, this is the because of a few weeks ago, there's a problem on the getting the certificates, but I think now everything is okay. So tomorrow, the participants can download their e-certificate. Okay, so please wait for the code. Just help me. So again, participants, starting tomorrow, you can able to download your certificate. Okay, so let me ask Sir Kamro if he will post here the code of tonight's webinar. Sir Kamrul, are you there? Ah, okay. So no code, but tomorrow they can download it, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Tomorrow we'll give all the previous certificate code.
Okay, so take note. Tomorrow you can download all the certificates you have missed for few weeks. Okay, so congratulations and have a good night to all of you. Thank you, Sir Kamro. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you.